Nietzsche, Become Who You Are. In this video, we're going to look at one of the most famous quotes from Friedrich Nietzsche, the one that I think captures his philosophy more than any other quote, Become Who You Are. So let's take a look at what he means by that. If you want to get some quick Nietzsche wisdom in your life, consider subscribing for more videos like this one. And if you want to go further into Nietzsche and philosophy, consider checking out our Philosophy Basics Guide to Nietzsche available online. It is a free ebook and it will teach you everything you need to know about Nietzsche in under an hour. Anyway, let's get started. There is a moment in every person's life where they start questioning things. They question how they got here, where they are going, and even why they believe what they believe. For many people, this is a deeply uncomfortable place to be. After all, to question is to realize there are things you don't know, which makes us feel stupid. And worse yet, it can make us feel alone, which is something none of us really want to be. But there's no escaping this process if you want to become who you are. As Nietzsche says, self-knowledge is the beginning of wisdom. To really start understanding Nietzsche, we have to understand what he meant by becoming who you are. But to answer that question, we need to ask another. What does it mean to be yourself? The idea of being yourself sounds simple enough, but you'll realize very quickly that no two people do that. Everyone presents themselves differently depending on who they're around. You might act differently with your friends than you do around your boss, and when you're by yourself, you act different than you do around everyone else. So what exactly does it mean to be yourself? Well, the first step is to recognize that there is no fixed self. Instead, we all have a multiplicity of selves within us. It's just a fact of human nature. Think about it. Your tastes change over time. You have dominant traits at some times of your life and not others. And when you look back on your younger self, you probably see someone quite different from who you are now. So rather than a fixed self, we have a fluid, evolving self that changes over time. Now, because we all have this multiplicity of selves within us, we can choose to act in accordance with one of them or another. We can decide to act according to our romantic side or our logical side. Sometimes we want to feel good, other times we want to feel productive. The problem arises when we start feeling like we need to be one way or another all of the time. This is where our social and interpersonal roles come into play. When we're in the presence of other people, we often feel pressure to perform according to certain roles. We may be the dutiful son or the loyal employee. In these roles, we're fulfilling the expectations of others, but not necessarily our own. Nietzsche called these types of selves social selves, and they are largely responsible for the gap between our true nature and how we present ourselves to the world. This gap creates a lot of internal conflict. According to Nietzsche, we experience feelings of guilt, shame, and anxiety whenever we're not living up to our social roles. Now, this is all well and good, but how does one become who they are? How do they overcome this gap between their true nature and how they're expected to behave? For Nietzsche, the solution was to stop caring about what other people thought and start focusing on one's own development. He called this amor fati, or love of fate. Amor fati, for Nietzsche, is a loving acceptance of everything that has happened to us, both good and bad. It is the affirmation of our entire existence. By accepting responsibility for everything that has happened to us, we begin to overcome the gap between our true nature and our social selves. We start to become who we are. But what about other people? Is there any value to them at all if they were just going to tell us how to behave in order to maintain this false self? In Nietzsche's view, other people can be helpful if we're able to find others who share our values and goals. These are the people who will help us to become who we are, not by telling us what to do, but by inspiring us to be better. Nietzsche said that great works of art and great acts of courage are the only things that can inspire us to be better because they show us what is possible. In other words, we can become who we are by emulating those who have already done so. So how do we put all this into practice? How do we become who we are? The first step is to start by affirming everything that has happened to us, both good and bad. We must learn to love our fate. Then we need to find inspiration in the great works of art and the great acts of courage. And finally, we need to express ourselves freely and creatively. This is how we overcome the gap between our true nature and our social selves. This is how we become who we are. Becoming who you are is a lifelong process, and it's not always easy. There will be times when you feel like giving up, when you feel like the world would be better off without you. But you must never give up. The world needs you. It needs your unique gifts and talents. Don't ever forget that. You are not alone in this world. There are others who love you and need you. Don't ever forget that either. When you feel like giving up, Remember that you are not alone. Reach out to your friends or family. Talk to someone about how you're feeling. Ask for help. Don't be afraid to do this. It is a sign of strength, not weakness. We hope that this video has helped you to see how you can become who you are. Remember, you are not alone in this world. There are others who love you and need you. Don't ever forget that. Now, we want to hear from you. What do you think? Does this make sense? Does it not make sense? Leave a comment below with your thoughts. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe so you can be notified when we release new videos. Also, be sure to check out our Philosophy Basics Guide to Nietzsche. It is a free book that will teach you everything you need to know about Nietzsche in under an hour. You can download it from our website. Thanks for watching. Now, before we wrap up, we want to leave you with one final thought. We mentioned earlier that Nietzsche thought that great works of art and great acts of courage are the only things that can inspire us to be better. But why is this? Why do these things have this power over us? We think it's because they remind us of what is possible. They show us that we are capable of more than we think. When we see someone overcoming great obstacles and achieving something extraordinary, it inspires us to do the same. It makes us believe that we can do the same. And that's why we think Nietzsche was so wrong when he said that artists are the ones who lack the will to live. For us, artists are the ones who have the strongest will to live because they are the ones who are constant, like pushing the boundaries, exploring new possibilities and showing us what is possible. Artists are the ones who remind us that we are capable of more than we think. They are the ones who inspire us to become who we are. Thanks for watching. This deceptively simple command from Nietzsche is not an invitation to passive self-acceptance. It is a radical call to transformation, self-overcoming, and the creation of a life worth living. Nietzsche does not mean, be yourself as you are. He means, uncover your deepest potential, and then build it, fight for it, and live it into existence. This postulate is at the heart of Nietzsche's philosophy, a blend of existential demand, psychological insight, and heroic idealism. For Nietzsche, most people live according to social scripts, herd values, or religious dogmas. They never question their identity, they simply inherit it. To become who you are is to peel away the layers of imitation, to strip off what society, religion, or family has told you to be, and to begin the difficult journey inward. It's not about finding a pre-written self inside you. It's about discovering your unique instincts, owning your strengths and flaws, facing your inner contradictions, forging a new path through creative will. Nietzsche saw the self not as a fixed essence, but as a project, something to be crafted like a sculpture. You are not born complete, you are born with raw potential, and it is your task to shape that potential into something extraordinary. To become who you are means taking radical responsibility for your becoming, choosing growth over comfort, embracing solitude, struggle, and authenticity, creating your own values, meaning, and identity. This is what Nietzsche called the path of the Übermensch, the overman who rises above conformity to become a creator of his own soul. Nietzsche warns us about the danger of living as a member of the herd, a life of passive acceptance, superficial contentment, and moral obedience. To become who you are, you must dare to be misunderstood, resist easy answers, reject the need for approval, embrace the discomfort of self-evolution. This path is not safe, but it is real, and it is the only path to freedom of spirit. To become yourself, you must also confront your shadow, the parts of yourself that are repressed, feared, or hidden. Nietzsche urges you to face your darkness without shame, harness your desires without guilt, integrate your chaos and order into strength. Only then can you live from the whole of your being, not just the socially acceptable fragments. The test of becoming who you are is this: would you live your life exactly as it is, again and again, for all eternity? If your answer is no, Nietzsche challenges you to reconstruct your life until your very existence becomes a yes to life. You are not finished, you are unfolding, and your greatest duty is to become the person only you can be. What does your conscience say? You shall become the person you are. Nietzsche's postulate is not about comfort, it's about courage, not about arriving, but about striving, not about repeating, but about creating. You are not here to fit in, you are here to become. So ask yourself, with brutal honesty, what inside me is waiting to be lived? What lies have I accepted as truth? What would I become if I stopped being afraid?